A terrifying sight out of Baltimore this morning after a cargo ship lost power and ultimately collided with a major bridge, collapsing it into the water below. The NTSB is investigating the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse you just saw there. NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy says the investigation is still in the early stages, with their work currently focused on search and rescue. Moving forward, they're going to look at what went wrong on the cargo ship and also if that bridge was structurally sound in the first place.
Part of our investigation will be how was this bridge constructed? It will look at the structure itself. Should there be any sort of safety improvements? All that will be part of our investigation. We go very broad.
Search and rescue efforts are ongoing there at this hour. The Francis Scott Key Bridge was completed in 1977, making it nearly 50 years old. And for some Northlanders, the incident begs the question, is this something that could happen in the Twin Ports with the Blatnik Bridge? Northern News Now's Jack Wiedner spoke to some local experts about just that today. Jack?
Well, the Blatnik Bridge is quite similar to the Francis Scott Key, which just went down in Baltimore. Both are steel arch bridges designed to span major shipping routes. While the Blatnik is older, it also has one feature its Baltimore counterpart lacked: fenders. Fenders are structures surrounding a bridge's support pillars, designed to be a line of defense against rogue ships. The Blatnik Bridge has concrete pylons to serve this purpose. The Francis Scott Key lacked these structures, or at least structures of this size, meaning that there was nothing to absorb the hit other than the bridge itself. With a high-speed head-on collision, it's unlikely that fenders would have prevented what happened in Baltimore. But UMD professor Brock Hedegaard says newer bridges are designed to handle accidents differently.
Modern design practices are hopefully going to be better at dealing with that in terms of trying to get away from a lot of what these old bridges followed as what's called a fracture critical design.
Both the Blatnik and the Francis Scott Key were designed in a way that leads to the entire bridge failing in major crashes like what happened this morning. Modern bridges are more likely to fail in one section, but not entirely. While the Blatnik Bridge reconstruction is on the way, we'll likely see a replacement that is better equipped for a worst-case scenario like we saw in Baltimore.
All right, a little peace of mind there for folks driving across the Blatnik Bridge. Thank you, Jack. And we talked to WisDOT today as well. WisDOT says it's constantly assessing bridges throughout the state to ensure safety.